Meeting will please come to order. Barbara, please call the roll.
We have Commissioners Fleming, Funderburk, and Levine present.
Thank you. This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. I have very brief opening remarks, and they basically are in the form of asking the general manager to pass along compliments to the intrepid staff who's done such extraordinary work in restoring power to over 99,000 customers in the last 48 hours, power that was knocked out due to the windstorm. The general manager commented to me a few minutes ago that even she couldn't control the wind. But having acknowledged that, our staff has done a magnificent job in getting people back with their power. And I gather these are mostly people who are dealing with other emergencies to begin with. And I think it's quite extraordinary that they were able to accomplish what they did. So I just want to compliment them.
We'll pass that along, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, I ask the general manager for her report or briefing.
Very briefly, I just want to explain that Dave Wright and Jeff Peltola were called down to council chambers to make a presentation, or else they certainly would have been there. We have Ann sitting in, and then I will cover any of Dave's items that come up. And with that, we thought you might like to get a brief update on snow conditions.
We
Marty?
would.
So we finally have some good news to deliver. As we've heard in the news, the Western Sierra has been above 100% on average for the last several weeks. But the eastern side, last I reported, I think we were about 80 or 90% of average, in spite of the fact that we seem to have gotten a lot of snow in the Mammoth area. We conducted our first on-the-ground snow survey of the season. When we do preliminary numbers, we have what we call snow pillows that basically electronically measure the weight of the snow, because the weight of the snow is the weight of the water. But they're not always nearly as accurate as we'd like them to be. And so we did our first survey on the ground. And at that time, we were just short of 100%, and then we proceeded to have an entire nice long weekend full of snow. And I think it still continues to snow at this time in Mammoth. And so Mammoth itself, which is we call Mammoth Pass, is kind of an earmark for us, is 123% of normal right now. Rock Creek nearby is near normal. Certain other areas are in the 80 to 90% range. So all combined, we're probably sitting somewhere a little above the normal for this time of year, but not dramatically above, but we have had a much better turnout in the last week than we did prior to this point.
Well, we hope you can keep that going, Marty.
We're doing our best.
Thank you. It's nice to get a good report like that for a change. That's it. Comments from commissioners on agendized items and requests from commissioners relating to departmental operations.
I did have one thing to say, Commissioner Levine. I wanted to thank Marty Adams and the Water System, Dave Pettyjohn, and his crew for I sat in on a One Water meeting yesterday. I hadn't sat in, and it gave me a much better appreciation for the financial and legal commitments related to stormwater capture. I'm looking forward to hearing more and staying on top of it, but it made me understand what how important it is, number one, for our integrated resources, but how the ratepayers' money is being watched and used wisely through the efforts of our water staff in terms of diligently monitoring what our obligations are and not getting into permit obligations under the city municipal storm sewer permit. So I really appreciate that, and I want to thank you again for allowing me to partake in that.
Thank you, and we really appreciate you being there.
Public comment. Do we have any public comment cards, Barbara?
Not for item 4, no.
Comments from ratepayer advocate on agendized items.
We would like to make comments on item 31A. And I had a brief comment on one of the consent items, and that is the Valero Ultimark contract. That's a discount, and giving a discount is always difficult and challenging, but there are specific competitive reasons that support making the discount in this case.
Thank you. Okay, we go to the consent agenda. We'll start with approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of January 19th?
Second.
Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
They're approved. We need to defer 5 items. Item 9, item 25, 26, 27, and 28. Is there a motion to defer those items?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor? Aye. Those items are deferred. That leaves, items 7 through 24 on the consent calendar. Do any commissioners wish to remove any of those items from the consent calendar? Is there a motion to approve those items?
We have a speaker card for number 18.
I'm sorry. Okay, we'll take 18 off of the consent calendar and ask for a motion on items 7 through 17 and 19 through 23.
Excluding 9.
Excluding 9. Thank you. Second, those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, what item was that, Barbara? 18?
18.
And who is the speaker?
The speaker is Andy Lipkis.
Andy? Proceed.
Thank you, and good morning. I want to build on Commissioner's congratulations to the staff, thanking them and the department for this very, very special collaboration that is represented by the MOU that you're considering this morning. It is a collaboration between the Department of Water and Power, the Bureau of Sanitation, and LA County Flood Control, the 3 agencies that manage together the whole water cycle. The staffs are collaborating like never before, from the chiefs of the agencies to senior deputies and engineers in designing LA's new hybrid water system that captures the rain and is potentially a major part of delivering the up to 50% local water supply that was identified in the recently approved Stormwater Capture Master Plan. So this project will build at least 6 demonstration houses in Los Angeles that capture the rain with smart cisterns. 4 of them have now been completed. They've been capturing all the water that's coming. There's some state-of-the-art ones that just were flown in from Australia that were installed last week at a home in South Los Angeles in time to capture the water that fell this weekend. All of them are electronically censored and monitored and remote controlled. So your staff will be able to see the water in them, and the staffs of each of the agencies can actually have custody of the water along with the homeowner. They can actually see and control the cistern for capturing water and having it primarily be water supply, but also be used for flood protection and water quality. And without going into detail, it is a breakthrough first-time project for the nation and the world, and you're doing it. And we thank you for the honor and the privilege of working with you and supporting this project.
And Andy, thank you for your leadership on this. It's deeply appreciated and extremely critical to the city's ability to retain water.
Thanks. I just want to add that the thing that we fear most, and we're even now hearing it in the media, and I'm sure you do, is that the city has been ready to respond to what's becoming dry as the new norm for decades, and each time a drought gets us ready, then it rains and our population forgets. This time, hopefully, we won't forget if it rains. El Nino is still being the great wet hope, and there's probably more storms coming. But this sets us up to move forward and invest the taxpayers' dollars wisely in jobs and developing a really locally resilient and sustainable water supply. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there a motion on item 18?
So moved.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved, and Barbara reminded me that I skipped over item 24, which was unintentional. That should have been included on my list of items on the consent calendar. Is there a motion on item 24?
I'll move.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's approved. Okay, we move to the regular calendar, and we have deferred item 28, so we move to item 29, agreement number 473776 for Emerson Ovation Distributed Control System Upgrade and Sure Service Support with Emerson Process Management Power and Water Solutions, Inc. Who is going to start the presentation?
I guess I'm starting. Karen Usuri, Manager of Generating Station Engineering. Good morning, Commissioners. Today we are requesting approval of agreement number 47377 to upgrade the existing Emerson Ovation Distributed Control System for combined cycle units at Harbor, Valley, and Haynes Generating Station. This agreement also includes Emerson's Sure Service program, which provides software updates, licensing, maintenance, and 24/7 access to their technical support and on-site field services. Basically, a distributed control system provided under this agreement, or upgrades we're going to make, consists of hardware and software that is designed to control and monitor the mechanical and electrical auxiliary equipment. We are requesting approval of this agreement primarily for two purposes, which is to upgrade our obsolete components of our DCS systems and to ensure compliance with the NERC and LADWP's cybersecurity regulations. Go into more detail if you want, or if you have any specific questions.
Thank you. Questions? Comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Monthly reports, water system September.
I have nothing additional to add besides the water report unless there's any questions.
Questions? No questions? Good report. Financial services, November.
No additional comments unless there's questions.
Questions? Thank you. Power system, December.
So thank you for recognizing the crews. It was a significant outage, and they've performed very well. I wanted to note that many of those crews that came on board were called from off-duty. They were woke up in the middle of the night. They responded to really support our customers, and that is really worthy of recognition, so I thank you for doing that.
Well, they deserve our thanks and our gratitude. Renewable portfolio standard projects, December.
No further updates unless you have questions on the report that's before you.
Chief Administrative Office, December.
We're going to put that off until we get Dave back.
Makes sense. Okay, 31A, Community Solar Program.
So we're going to have John Dennis come up to the table with Brian Koch, and they're going to go through a presentation with you.
There is no action associated with this item today. It's basically just to brief the board.
Morning, Commissioners. John Dennis, the Director of Power System Planning and Development.
And Brian Koch, Assistant Director.
We have a great presentation, just a few slides to share with you. We'll hit some highlights of these slides on the presentation, but it may invoke some additional information or queries from yourself. Please understand this is in our conceptual phase of this program, so it's an opportunity to introduce community solar and share with you some of the guidelines. But as we look at community solar, some of the highlights of what we're trying to accomplish is to receive cost savings benefits from solar facilities, to help LADWP meet its renewable energy goals, to reduce overall emissions, and to support local job creation. So as we looked at the community solar program, why community solar? And one of the outstanding items here is that the traditional solar models sell a premium product, primarily geared for homeowners only, and it tends to exclude low-income customers, and there is a large disparity in the solar access. And at this time, we see that there is no active community solar program in Southern California. And so we wanted to provide some opportunity for solar access, but also this would eliminate the barriers that many have, not just with low-income customers, but also renters and other residential customers without their own solar power to enjoy the benefits of solar power. And so as we see the program, our overall programs we have right now for local solar programs, we have the solar incentive program in place and the feed-in tariff program, and those are continuing to ramp up. But in the community solar program, there's two other pieces that we're going to discuss today. And for lack of better terms, we've arrived at roofless and rooftop solar. And so we'll describe those here in just a moment. But this, we believe, makes a full package for Los Angeles. The key goal of our community solar programs are listed here, but I'll just highlight a few, is to provide up to 40 megawatts of solar power by 2020, to generate local jobs with community through our local training programs, including our DWP's Utility Pre-Craft Trainee Program, and to offer what we call solar ownership-like benefits to our customers. Also is to, as we mentioned, to earn towards our 50% RPS standard, and also to maximize our efforts as we go through with our energy efficiency programs and upgrades on existing residences while we're out there retrofitting. We are retrofitting about 3,000 homes per year. So we'll talk about the quantities and numbers as we're looking. But while we're there, this may be the opportunity for us to offer some rooftop programs as well with our workers. And then to support, obviously, the Sustainable City Plan. Since the latter part of 2015, here's some of the things that we've done with this program. We've met with multiple agencies to understand the interests of community solar. We did a survey, a community survey, to gauge our customers' interests. And that survey went out to 65,000 of our customers, and we received some representative responses of those surveys, and we'll share those with you at the end of this slide deck. And then lastly, we developed a game plan for the program implementation, and here's some of those features. In the program, it offers on the roofless program, again, this would be also in the rooftop solar program. The number of customers would be around 900 to 1,300, and we'd offer those within the first year of the launch. And this is where the customers could subscribe to energy produced from off-site solar arrays. And this would replace up to 50% of their average monthly load. And the rate is still yet to be established on this, and the dollars per kilowatt hour will not increase over time. We're looking at in the range of about 16 cents a kilowatt hour is what this would charge, but we still have to work that through in the conceptual planning here. But it would be a fixed rate so that as electric rates increase, so do the economic savings. And this is where the attributes would be just like solar-like ownership rights or benefits. On the right-hand side is the rooftop solar program, where we would have, within 3 years of the launch, offer 800 to 1,000 rooftops. And this would be where DWP would own and build the systems on the customer rooftops. It would be directly metered, not to that residence, but it would be directly metered to our system. So we could enjoy the benefits, the credits towards our 50%. And the participants would receive a fixed monetary compensation from the use of their roof. And so as we look at those numbers on there, the 800 to 1,000 within the 3 years of launch, again, as we're out there doing about 3,000 per year on the energy efficiency upgrades, this would be roughly about 1 in 10 of those that we could look at those as being primary candidates for that program while we're there. In the customer benefits, we see again with the rooftop, there's a fixed lease payment that offers immediate savings. On the roofless, the subscription can be transferred to any address within the service territory. As we worked with the community groups and we're doing some of the outreach with the rate cases and out there, we started to talk about this program with some of the different participants. This was really attractive to people who are in apartments, and they could transfer that. So if they move from one place to another, they could, inside LA, they could still enjoy those benefits of this roofless solar. No O&M cost to them, no credit checks, no upfront costs. So the next steps on here, as far as the implementation plan, is we're in this conceptual phases, is to develop the criteria to identify those houses that are best suited to have solar installed. So this could be such criteria as the roof type, no tile on the roof, the condition of the roof, could be a single-story facility. Owner occupied. Now again, we have not defined this or fine-tuned this. This will come to you later this year. But that's a significant attribute, so that somebody in this community would be the owner occupied, and then they can enjoy the benefits of receiving the income from that, the credit on the roof. Again, the criteria may look and feel very, very similar to our criteria that's already established for our energy efficiency programs. The third bullet there is to coordinate with our home energy improvement program to optimize our resources. So while we're out there, we'll look at those opportunities to inspect the roofs and see if they're good candidates, to utilize our local labor to install the systems. And then we're looking at standardized kits. So we're trying to package those for optimal packaging, 2 to 4 kilowatts, and seeing what we can do to just have a standard approach. On the roofless implementation, we're still to set the community solar rate. We talked about that being in the range of about 16 cents per kilowatt hour. And to estimate how much energy can be produced, to define that subscription limit, and then enter into those agreements with our customers. Again, this would be an opportunity for our customers to put a hedge on some inflation and give ownership-like benefits. So as we proceed, we're looking at the additional considerations, the logistics, and I'm just going to go to the schedule on this last page that says basically is that our proposal is to have an approval package that would come to your attention at the end of June of this year and launch the program by the end of this year. I just want to point out, if you could turn to the very last slide, and these are some of the results of the surveys that we had. It just shows that we had 65,000 surveys went out. We received 1,000 responses back, but we believe that with the statistics, they're representative of those individuals or residences. And the next slide, let me show that. Here's what the finding of that survey. Over 56% of the target audience are willing to pay a premium in the first years of the program. So it may be slightly higher, but they see that there's a hedge against inflation, and as rates grow, that they have some ability to enjoy that. The other one that was rather interesting was 70% of the low-income and lifeline customers either do not want the solar farm near their neighborhood, or they are not willing to pay more to have the solar farm in their neighborhood. So that's rather interesting. The thing is, as we talk about community solar, it doesn't mean necessarily that that array needs to be right there in their neighborhood as far as their interests are concerned. What they found to be the most appealing aspects of the program is it reduces the use of fossil fuels and supports clean energy, and it may help manage energy costs over time for them and requires no maintenance and minimal upfront costs. And the last note, not on this slide, but again, that ability to transfer, if they're an apartment dweller, that they can move from one place to another and enjoy those benefits still and stay on the program. That's a quick highlight of the community solar program. We're really excited about the rollout of this and the capabilities and opportunities that are there. It is still in the conceptual stages, but we wanted to bring that to your attention.
I have one quick question. In light of the warm reception that people in low-income neighborhoods have demonstrated by your survey result to putting the solar farm in their neighborhood, how do you figure out where to put these solar farms?
Right now, again, with regards to those, we're trying to maximize some of our existing facilities, our properties that we do have. We have some water system properties, so we can build on those, and those could be entertained or used in the program. So we have some large tank facilities in cooperation with
The cover slide shows the tank.
Shows that here, the McClay tanks that are out in the valley. Real nice use of the existing property, good open land there that we own and control. And so we'll look for those opportunities sprinkled throughout the system.
And what's the range, if you have a solar farm at a particular location, how far away can the solar be received?
Well, it would be, essentially, these are injected into the system or the grid, so they would be participants in there. Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that the ratepayer advocate wanted to comment on this item.
This is a pilot step to demonstrate some of the concepts. We had couple concerns with the concepts. One is for the roofless program, we're worried about how long the fixed price period might be, because that is, DWP has some costs in power delivery that will escalate over time. So we have to worry about a balanced hedge, in the words of risk management. So we have to be conscious of that as we move forward. And on the rooftop approach, we caution that tax considerations when dealing with people and property and transfer of assets have to be considered, and we recommended appropriate tax counsel on that. The good news here is this is a first step, and there are many more things that can be done for a community solar program. An example from the past that just ended today was LA County has two cogeneration plants that have been moving power through the grid to multiple county locations. It's a 30-year contract. It's just been replaced by a different contract today, but that concept may be usable at other times for applying this to solar to move power through what would be variously called, in today's vocabulary, virtual net metering or wheeling of power. And then finally, there are a number of existing renewable energy credit purchase programs. And these don't save people money, but by purchasing credits, you're helping support renewable resources for your use. DWP has a green power program at about 3 cents a kilowatt hour supplement that is in the base rate. And the Sierra Club has their Arcadia program that you can also use to buy RECs to offset your power usage.
Thank you. Comments, questions?
I'm very encouraged that we're making forward progress on this issue. So I would say keep it up. I'm very interested in, I would really like to see the results of the survey, because I think that that's terribly important for us to get an idea of what our ratepayers' needs are and what they're really thinking in terms of what they have capacity, what their own capacity is, and what their tolerance is. I think that it's enlightening to learn about the solar farm proximity issue. So I'd be interested in seeing the results of the survey. I'd say keep up the work in terms of looking for opportunities to share the community benefits of renewables throughout the city, and I look forward to any follow-up report from this pilot study that you've done.
Thank you very much. Very encouraging and impressive.
I'd like to take a moment also just to point out Michael Buck is going to be supervising this particular program. He's new to our renewable energy program, and so you'll be hearing and seeing more from Michael Buck.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks. 31B security update. Is that part of the rate increase?
Yeah, I'll put that in. This review today is in response to some things that had happened recently as far as information released in a report. So I wanted to take a few minutes and walk the board through what had happened, try to provide some more accurate information. And Dave Wright is basically at council giving them the same presentation today. When the recent IEA audit came out, it painted a somewhat incomplete picture, and there were statements made that the last independent threat assessment was back in 2001, and the truth of the matter is there have been reviews and assessments conducted since that point. I won't read it all to you, but this shows you that we've done a couple of varying assessments, but most importantly, the North American Electric Reliability Corporation is the regulatory authority underneath the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and they have very detailed critical infrastructure protection protocols. One of them is CIP 14, and that review and audit is underway at present. Some of the observations that were made as far as some of the vulnerabilities have long been addressed in the majority of our office buildings. We backed up critical assets. You've seen metal detectors, turnstiles, kiosks, cameras. These are all typical physical security issues for buildings. There were observations made about our control center that those potential vulnerabilities had been handled a number of years hence. So we wanted again to give you a quick summary of some of the items that are in place at that facility. There were comments made about our filtration plant. And again, you can see the type of activities that have been taking place there as well. And finally, at our generating stations. I do want to make one, I got one more, wait, and switching stations. There is something particular about the electric system that I think people need to be aware of. You simply can't drop a bubble over a regional interconnected grid. So you're always going to have some level of vulnerabilities. For the power system itself, the power system is designed to break into discrete components in a regional basis and then allow itself to be reconnected. And so that in and of itself does provide a significant hedge. But you have a lot of stations that are open air, just like reservoirs are open air, so it becomes a constant exercise to ensure you're utilizing the best security that you can. This is just a summary information. We have over 1,000 cameras throughout our system. We've had the reduction in outages of those cameras, though there are still always going to be some that are out. We have planned expansions, and we're working through software to assist in the camera monitoring. This is a good evolutionary slide, and it shows you the much higher involvement, particularly at a federal level, on electric security over the last couple of years. They've gone all the way now through these voluntary protocols up to now and including very prescriptive and tight protocols that they audit with great frequency, and you get violations. One of our facilities, you have to actually sign a book as you move between a secured area and an unsecured area. Well, yours truly didn't sign the book, and we got a small violation for that. I mean, it's held down to a pretty incremental level. It's a bit more about that critical infrastructure protocol 14 that we're required to do threat and vulnerability assessments. Under these broader issues, obviously anything that impacts the grid on a widespread basis is always going to be an issue. Uncontrolled separation is the reverse of what I told you earlier. When the grid starts coming apart in pieces rather than breaking itself apart along predefined perforations, for lack of a better term. This is what it requires, and you have to have an independent consultant do it. We have our assessment largely complete. We're in the midst of reviewing it for accuracy and working through with the independent consultant, and then all the recommendations, et cetera, we'll go through and review it. And to the extent that it's appropriate for a public setting, we'll review it with the board, and to the extent that there's more detail you require, we'll have to go into closed session given the significance of some of this information. Very briefly on cybersecurity, again, I wanted just to make a couple of these points. We're going to go into greater detail with the board in closed session. It's always going to be a balancing act how much you want to talk about in public, and some of the security issues I think we need to be very constrained about. And this simply says we've been doing these reviews. We're on schedule with the ones that are federally required. There were observations made by previous consultant that when you looked at it from a facility operational perspective, it was redundant or unnecessary. We don't necessarily take every suggestion, but we analyze each one for applicability and appropriateness given that particular location. And that concludes the security review. Dave would have probably done it better, but
That was pretty good.
Dave's not here.
We'll tell Dave. Thank you. Questions? Council?
All right. The board shall publicly report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention of every member present thereon in accordance with Section 54, 957.1 of the California Government Code.
We'll recess into closed session.